never had anyone from All Time Low on Loudwire nights before, so glad to be changing that this evening as we welcome their frontman, Alex Gaskarth. Alex, I'm sure it is beyond exciting. Your song, which we're playing on the show, by the way, Monsters, has been at #1 on the alternative rock chart, where it's currently sitting for 6 weeks. That's pretty spectacular. Congratulations. And we're going to talk about the song. But before we do, there's even more important, serious, and pressing news involving the band, and that is that fast food franchise Wendy's tweeted at you all saying ATL having a song as big as Monsters now is really cool to see. Here for it. That's got to be better than 6 weeks at #1. Am I right?
It's the validation I've been looking for in my entire career, I have to say. When Wendy's calls you out, you really know. You really know things are connecting to people.
You definitely made it. You made it. So as we mentioned, Monsters is just huge, featuring Black Bear doing extremely well for the band. Did you know when it was coming together that you had magic in this song?
We really did. I mean, you never know quite what a song is going to accomplish. That's really up for the audience and the listeners to decide. But we all felt so excited the moment that we wrote that song. It came together really quickly, which can either be really great or really, really bad. There's no in between with that. When a song kind of writes itself, it's either going to be like one of your best songs or one of your absolute worst songs. I remember the energy in the room. We were just the second we wrote that chorus, everybody kind of took pause and looked at each other and just went, oh yeah, like this one feels really special. You know, the rest kind of speaks for itself. We knew it was going to be a standout track on the record, but we had no idea that it was going to, do what it's done now. We're just like humbled and so grateful. And yeah, it's amazing to see what the song's gone on to do.
Yeah, it is. Has the band ever written a catchier song? Seriously, like how many days in a row has that song been stuck in your head? Because the minute I hear it, forget it all night. That's all I'll be repeating in my head. So I got to imagine it's got to get stuck in yours at some point.
It's crazy. I find myself apologizing to people because it's like we've never had a radio hit before, and when that happens, the song is everywhere and it's being played a lot. And like I literally have friends calling me, being like, "I can't stop hearing your song," and I'm actually just like guilty at this point. I'm like, guys, I'm so sorry. I never meant to do this to any of you.
And by sorry, you mean, hell yes, I'm thrilled. That's right.
Yeah, totally. In the back of my mind, I'm like, too bad. This is incredible.
So good. Yeah, totally. Monsters comes off Wake Up Sunshine, the band's 8th studio album, which was released in April. Kerrang called it genuinely brilliant. Something great is happening with this batch of songs, right? So why this record? Why now, 16, 17 years in?
I just think it was a perfect place and time album. When you make music for as long as we have, every record that you go in to make is a new adventure and it's a new journey. And we always approach every record with a similar mindset of wanting to push ourselves to make something exciting and something that reinvigorates the band and us as the people creating the music, not just the audience listening to it. But it's a two-way street. And I think what was special about this record is that we got together, we rented a house in Palm Desert, and all 4 of us were living under one roof for like 2 months and just making all of this music in a house together, which is a way that we really haven't made music in many, many years. Like that's kind of how we made our albums when we were just starting out, and then you grow up a little bit and you start renting studios and it becomes a little bit more like regimented and a little bit more, I guess, quote unquote professional. But like this just felt so casual. I was sitting on the couch in the living room, pretty bad microphone, like singing lyrics as they came to me and, just grabbing a guitar, picking it up and laying in an idea. Everything was so natural and raw. And I think that energy really translated to the music and just created something special.
How much credit do you give to that break, really just needing that break?
I think it helped because it gave us perspective. It gave us a little bit of time to take stock in what we are as a band. And when we came back together, it, I think, made us that much more appreciative of what we have as a group. And that energy really fed back into the music that we were writing at the time.
Also worth noting, it's been a pretty good week for you guys. Also worth noting, your ballad Remembering Sunday just hit gold certification in the U.S., catching up to the actual album finally. So that's the equivalent of 500,000 sales. Yeah, congratulations. Was that even a single?
It's so wild to have a song. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, was that even a single?
It was not. It was a song that put its hand up early on. It became a really special song with the fans and the audience, and we kind of recognized that. And so we've always played it live, and it's become like a really staple All Time Low song. And I think what I was going to say is it's absolutely incredible, like this many years in, to have a certification come across like that, because again, it's not a single, it's not a song that we pushed, it's not a song that got like this obvious nod, but the fans just made that happen because they spoke for the song.
I'm curious about your recent Good Morning America performance and how that came together given the COVID restrictions. I don't know if you were there, if you sent the tape over. Like, how did it feel to be back on stage? I know about your Basement Noise concert series. We're going to talk about that. But how did it feel to be back on stage? And what is it like to be on GMA? It seems so cool.
It was really exciting. It's always fun doing those performances. And really, that was one of the first times we had performed the song together as a band since the record came out. So it had that much more gravity to it, just given that, we really hadn't played that song together as a band since tracking it a year ago. So it was a special moment, and we got to do it. We actually filmed it around the same time that we were doing Basement Noise. So we were sort of like locked into that kind of studio performance setting, and everything just felt really great. Our director, Pat Tracy, who we've worked with many times on many different things, like made that whole set and just created this incredible environment for us to perform the song in for the first time. And it was just super special.
Back to the Basement Noise concert series. In a nutshell, it's a live stream of the band performing, right? You can get those dates on their site. Really well produced. You can tell you put some effort into it, multiple camera angles, lights, a lot of good stuff. Can you imagine what your reaction would have been, I don't know, if 10 years ago someone said to you, oh, by the way, your 8th studio album, you're going to be performing that one for the first time in full via a live stream because of this thing called COVID-19. What would you have said?
I would have not believed a word of it, first of all, but it's a really odd year, as we all know, and this set of circumstances are like so unusual to us. We are a band that, for anyone that doesn't know, like touring is our lifeblood. That's our bread and butter. That's how we always have kind of made our way. And so being on the road, being in front of the fans and feeling that live energy, that's in our nature. And so to not have that, to sort of not have that lifeline this year has been incredibly strange, especially with new music out, like you said. So this concert series that we filmed is kind of, the next best thing. Everybody's had to adapt this year and adjust and come up with new ways to make their thing make sense. And this was kind of the way we figured was best to get this music across to people and still connect in that live environment and give people something to do. Ultimately, at the end of the day, everybody's like, clutching for something exciting, for something new, for something different. And the Basement Noise series was our way of extending something like that out to our fans.
And you guys aren't hitting the road as of right now anyway, till April 2021. Is that correct?
Yeah, those are the first dates we have on the calendar. But even now, it's like everything's so up in the air. So who knows? I mean, fingers crossed. If we're allowed to be there and it's safe, we're going to be there.
First show, 420, smoke it if you got it. All right. A lot of people say that listening to All Time Low is like being 14 again, right? Like that nostalgia is there for the listener. But obviously, you're men in your 30s. So how does a band grow up gracefully and evolve their sound, their lyrics to who they are today without alienating that 14-year-old in all of us? It seems like you've figured that out.
That's the biggest, I think, challenge that we come up against whenever we sit down to make new music. And I think, every record that we make, we sort of have to have that conversation in some form. It's like, I think at the end of the day, the biggest thing is just staying authentic to yourself. One of the things I learned a few records in was just like, if you're not singing something that feels honest to you in the moment, then you're not going to believe it down the line because you're not going to connect and those lyrics aren't going to resonate with you and those melodies aren't going to resonate with you. And that's something that I think the audience feeds off of as well. Like the audience knows when a singer's not, believing what they're saying. And so the thing that I think has kept us always feeling authentic despite growing up sort of and evolving our sound and changing and adapting is just believing in it. Anytime we have an idea in the studio, if all of us are in that initial moment, if we're all up dancing around and having an amazing time and screaming, yeah, this is it, that's it. You really can't overthink. If there is good energy, that's going to be a winner.
Shifting gears a little bit, as I was preparing for this interview, I came across an article about you guys from Wine Enthusiast, and they were going on about, I didn't expect that one, but okay. They were going on about how popular your wine is. Right now, there's a Summer Days Rosé, and everything is wine. You shared that you have a modest collection. Anything worth bragging about?
No, absolutely not. And to be honest, I couldn't even tell you what's in my collection. It's usually like any of the bottles that I've brought home and like are sort of like I'm sitting on for some reason. It's stuff that I've found while traveling around the world, like I've just been somewhere cool and or somewhere that I really love, like, like a small town in France or somewhere like that. And I'll be at a restaurant and someone will suggest a wine, and I'll sometimes like bring that home with me just to kind of take a piece of the city or the town with me. I think that's what wine does. It kind of like anchors you to a place and time. And that's what really got us into it and why we wanted to start making it ourselves. And what better time than a year when no one can leave the house?
Oh, jackpot. There's a lot of booze consumption. Obviously, the consumption of alcohol is way up in 2020. I don't know that that's a good thing
But be
necessarily.
safe, people. Be safe, obviously.
Exactly. Have you ever had Maynard James Keenan's wine? I'm just curious if it's any good.
You know what? I actually have. So Maynard does a lot of work with the CF Foundation out here in LA, and I've been fortunate enough to go to some of those events. And he oftentimes supplies his wines to those events. So I actually have tried some of his wine. It's really good.
Is it? Okay. Noted. Just to touch on outside of All Time Low, last year you formed a group with Mark Hoppus of Blink-182 called Simple Creatures. Will there be more to come from that band, or did it kind of serve its purpose and moving on?
Yes, there absolutely will be more music and more Simple Creatures to come. I mean, we had all these plans. We had music kicking around, and then COVID hit, and it's obviously shaken the year up, and the plans have had to change naturally. And also, I've obviously been in All Time Low world a bit more, and, Mark has his stuff going on. He has a new radio show that he's been really focused on. It's there and it's poised and it's waiting. It just, we need to kind of find that moment that we can get together in a studio and like button up a couple songs and see where it goes from there. But yes, absolutely. The plan is to keep doing Simple Creatures for sure.
Did Mark ever share any Tom DeLonge alien stories with you?
No matter how much I pry, I think Tom swore him to secrecy.
All right. We'll wrap on this one on a positive note. Talk to me a little bit about the connection that you four have as friends. Jack recently said, All Time Low doesn't even feel like a band anymore. We're brothers. That's what makes this special.
He's absolutely right. I mean, I think we all say that same thing. We're family, and I think we've all just continued to grow together over the years. And what's amazing about it is we all like take stock in what this is, and we're so grateful to be doing it, and so thankful that 15, 16 years into a career, we still are breaking new strides and breaking new ground and finding new ways to connect with our audience. And that keeps it feeling fresh for us. And then all we have to do is keep being brothers, and that's all we're ever going to do. It's just posy vibes all around.
Love it. I love it. All right. A million thanks to Alex Gaskarth, a fellow Sagittarian, by the way. All Time Low's A studio album, Wake Up Sunshine, is available everywhere for your listening pleasure. Their Basement Noise concert series is ongoing, and by the sound of it, Monsters ain't going away anytime soon either. Thank you, Alex. Continued health and success to you and yours. Appreciate your time, man.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you.